I've got to get a new tripod. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Techno Geek. I am Andrew. Last week I showed you how to build a brand new gaming PC for a console budget, and this week I'm taking it one step further. I'm going to show you how to build a PC with used parts for just under $300. So last week we covered an APU-based gaming system for those on a budget and just getting into PC gaming. The problem was that it's really only good for 720p, or if you're going to make a fast upgrade when you get enough money to buy a GPU. 720p is acceptable, but quite frankly it's not good enough for that immersive gaming experience. And also for $350, I think your money is much better spent looking for deals on like eBay for used parts or something like that. And that's just me. I'm a bargain hunter. I won't spend more than 40 bucks on a pair of shoes. And for my first PC, it cost me less than an Xbox One. And I was able to get those deals by researching on like internet forums or benchmarking websites, and then looking on eBay or Amazon or Newegg for used or refurbished parts. So I decided to do the research for you and make a build guide for used parts shopping. This system is going to average between 60 and 70 frames per second on medium to high settings at 1080p, and by no means is this supposed to be like an ultimate machine. But for less than $300, this is going to be the best PC money can buy on a price to performance ratio. Anyways, let's go ahead and get started so you can just get the shopping already. Okay, so down in the description I've posted a PC part picker link. This is just for your reference so you know what parts I decided to go with and what parts I think are best for a cheap eBay gaming build. Please keep in mind that I cannot guarantee these prices. These are just most of the prices that I was finding. Like I did find a GTX 660 Ti for $65. It wasn't buy it now, but I believe if you stand and wait for that deal, you'll find one as well. The cases, I guarantee you can find a case somewhere for $10. So I just want you to keep in mind, like, these prices may not be accurate to what you're seeing, but if you're a bargain hunter and you wait for the deals, they will come. But as we get into this, you'll see that I've given plenty of leeway as far as the prices on these components go. So last time, like I said, you want to put majority of your budget into the GPU. So for $100, which is what I've given for the budget, I think the best GPU to go with is a 660 Ti from NVIDIA. I was able to find it on eBay for around $70. Some of them, like, ignore this one completely because it's actually a 6950. It's not a 660 Ti. But if you look through here, you can see there's some pretty good deals on 660s. I mean, eventually these prices will rise, but I mean, a 660 Ti for around $75 to $100 is a really good deal. You want to keep shopping for that deal. This GPU is basically the same as a GTX 760, and I'll put up shots of the dies of a 660 Ti and a GTX 760. They're both built on the Kepler architecture, so these are basically the same GPU, but a 760 is being sold for much higher because right now people see that higher number, 760, and think it's just a better card. But in reality, they're the exact same GPU, albeit with a few tweaks to make the GTX 760 slightly more proficient. I know for sure you'll be averaging around 60 FPS in newer games at least medium settings. You can even probably crank some of the settings up to high, but honestly, with only 2 gigabytes of VRAM, you're going to have trouble keeping the textures on high. So I would just suggest sticking with your textures on medium, but you can crank some of the other settings to high, no problems. I mean, I have a GTX 760. Granted, mine's 4 gigabytes, so I can use a little bit higher textures, but I average right around 60 to 70 frames per second, and even newer games like Dragon Age Inquisition. I got no problem running Battlefield at high settings. So next we want to find a CPU that can keep up with the GPU we picked. So I decided to go with the 860K here. You can find it brand new for around $70, and really that's pretty much what I would recommend, is to buy it brand new, because I looked on eBay and the 860K is hovering right around $65 to $70. So if you can find it for a little cheaper on eBay or Newegg, fine, but really it's probably best to buy this CPU brand new, because people are overclocking the dog crap out of this thing. Not much to say about this CPU. It's good enough for 1080p. It's quad core, a decent overclocker. So that's it. So just for added kicks, I went ahead and decided to look into the Cooler Master Hyper T4. This is a great CPU cooler. As you can see there, it's got 4 copper heat pipes, a great fin array, a nice 120 millimeter fan that's going to be pushing a lot of air through there, and it's going to allow you to overclock that 860K, because it will get hot, and if you try to overclock that with a stock cooler, I promise you, you're not going to get very far. So you're going to need something like this to be able to overclock a little bit better. Okay, motherboards are going to be a little bit harder to find, as you have to stick with the chipset that you picked for your CPU. So, I mean, if you're looking for the cheapest, you can go with this board here. It has USB 3.0. It's got 2 RAM slots. It's got, I think, only 1 PCIe slot. I could be wrong about that. It is micro ATX, but I do believe it only has 1 PCIe slot. And for only $35, that's one heck of a deal for a motherboard. Now, this is going to be good enough, but you're probably not going to be able to overclock so well. So I would recommend going with something like this, the Gigabyte F2 A80XM. It is a A80X chipset FM2+, so it's still going to fit our 860K. The difference here is it's got 4 RAM slots in case you want to upgrade your RAM later, and it has 2 PCIe slots in case you want to go for SLI or Crossfire. Though I don't know for sure. I haven't done my research on this, but I don't believe it has SLI support. But that's okay. I don't think, when you're building a budget system, I don't think you're going to go for SLI anyway. It does have USB 3 front panel, so that's always a good thing, and it's another bonus. And just look at all those SATA ports. You can get a lot of drive support in there. But moving on from there, we got, okay, so one of the great things about this system is that it's pretty low power, so you can find a power supply for really cheap. I mean, less than $40 is about as cheap as you're going to get for a power supply, and this is a Seasonic power supply, so it's really good. I mean, only 80 plus bronze, but I mean, it's less than $40 for this power supply. You can find it on eBay for maybe a little cheaper, but again, you probably want to get a power supply brand new, because over time, power supplies do start to wear out. I would say to stick with a reputable brand like Seasonic if you're going with a used power supply, though, because you want one that you know is going to last and stand the test of time. You don't want to buy the cheapest power supply out there, because you're going to get what you pay for, and you'll be running your system one day, and just one day, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it's just going to shut down and everything may be fried, like your CPU or something like that. For RAM, I just decided to go with this G.Skill cheapo 4 gigabyte stick right here. The reason I went with this is because it's 1600 megahertz DDR3. It's only one 4 gig stick, so you can drop another 4 gig in there if you want to. And it's got a pretty nice black PCB, so it'll match the rest of our system build. And you know, you don't need heat spreaders. Those are just fancy for looks. So in my opinion, this is pretty good for the money. Again, I couldn't find it for any cheaper on eBay than $19.99 as it has here on Newegg, so I would just go ahead and buy this brand new. Plus, it's always good to have brand new RAM because you get warranties with them, and if something happens, you can always send it back and get a new stick. So then I found for storage this hard drive on eBay. They've sold many of them for only $15. It's a 320 gigabyte, 7200 RPM SATA hard drive from Western Digital, which is a very good brand. Only 8 megabytes cache here, but I mean, for $15, you really can't beat this price. And that's going to do you a good enough job, which is, again, is what we're going for here. Good enough for gaming. So finally, I'm going to give you some unorthodox advice and tell you to go to a local thrift store and ask them to see if they have any computer cases. I actually went to my thrift store and they had 2 computers that they gave me for free. I didn't even have to pay for them. They were getting ready to junk them anyway. It's completely junk on the inside, but the cases are totally usable. Micro ATX cases, so I got 2 of them for free. I would say go to your local thrift store and see if they have any cases. If not, check Craigslist. But please, if you do that, make sure you're meeting this person in a pretty well-lit public place. You don't want anything bad happening. There's pretty shady stuff that goes down on Craigslist. I know it sounds bad to buy a regular old junky case, but if it's going to do the job and it's going to get you gaming as fast as possible, you can upgrade your case later. When you have a couple more paychecks, you can get a really nice case, but I think it's best to start off with just something that's going to get the job done. So all in all, you can see here, this came out to $306.95, but there is a deal running on Newegg if you decide to buy these 2 parts. I mean, it'd be great to get a motherboard and a CPU for... It'd be great to get a motherboard and a CPU for only $126.98, and you're saving $13 here, which would bring our final total in at $297.93. So just under $300. And like I said, if you can't find the deals that I was showing you on the GTX 660 Ti, you can bump it up just a little bit, and if you need to get a nicer case, or you feel like you want a nicer case, you bump it up just a little bit, and you're still getting a beastly PC that can run games on medium to high settings at 60 to 70 frames per second on 1080p for a little less than $350. This is going to be one of the best computers that money can buy. In my opinion, there's no reason you shouldn't do this. They said it can't be done, but who are they anyways? A gaming PC averaging 60 frames per second at 1080p on medium to high settings, all for less than $300. Now, I cannot stress enough how important the waiting game is when searching for used parts. Keep in mind the max prices that I mentioned earlier. Be patient and do not buy on impulse. I cannot stress that enough. I cannot stress that I cannot stress that I cannot stress this enough. The deals are out there. Someone is always trying to upgrade, selling off used parts. Check eBay, check Amazon, check Newegg, and as a last resort, you can always check Craigslist. But if you do, just make sure you meet in a well-lit public place. Don't worry about having the best hardware. Don't worry about having outdated parts. Just worry about playing games and having fun. After all, that's really what PC gaming is all about. Sitting down in front of a keyboard and getting lost in a new world with deep story plots. Alright, so that's it everybody. Now you know where to look and what to shop for. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.